I'd like to welcome you to WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
And a happy Sunday fun day to everybody out there. Scott Duff here along with Ellen Miller.
Good morning, Scott Duff. Welcome back.
Thank you. You look fabulous in your leopard print.
It's my real estate garb. Going right to real estate.
Real estate
right
cheetah.
After the show.
There we are.
I feel that this is my lucky shirt.
There you go. Excellent. You're on the hunt.
Missed you last week.
I missed being here, but thanks for holding down the fort and everything.
My pleasure. I had the lovely and talented Kathy Voltmer, which I'll talk about after.
I know, and also happy birthday to her. Yeah.
But man, I really appreciate the job you do, my friend. It's a lot of work.
Oh, shucks, Tain.
So I
turn out then. Yeah, well, thank you. Hey, we've got a gigantic show today.
Yeah,
like it's just gigantic. Shannon Lynn Parker, our good friend, the CEO of Brave Space Alliance, she's been a huge presence in a numerous of these protests that are happening around town. And Brave Space Alliance is hosting their inaugural gala.
Fun.
I know, and a Partners in Dignity soiree. It's going to be on May 15th. And we're going to be chatting with our good buddy Shannon Lynn Parker later this hour. And the Story Theater kicks off season 5 with a reimagined production of the Jeff Award-winning playwright Terry Guest's At the Wake of a Dead Drag Queen. Mm-hmm. We're going to be joined by actor and playwright Terry Guest and his co-star Paul Michael Thompson in the second hour. And Benjamin Marshall was Chicago's most prolific architect, shaping Chicago as we know it. Think the Drake, think the Edgewater
Edgewater Hotel.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Now it's been torn down, but it was historic. My parents talked about it all the time.
Yeah, I know. So we're going to be chatting with the executive director of the Benjamin Marshall Society, Jane LaPaw, as the city gets ready to celebrate May 5th as Benjamin Marshall Day. And the WCPT family is growing and getting just a little bit gayer. Our work here is done. Ellen Miller, there we are. We're spreading the gays everywhere. The Gaily Show, hosted by John Parker, will be airing here weeknights at 8 p.m. Starting tomorrow. So we're going to have a little kiki with John Parker.
Very nice. I know. I've never met him before.
I know. Me too neither.
For the first time.
So we'll be meeting him and chatting with him. And of course, we would love to hear from you. So give us a call at 773-763-9278. The number again is 773-763-9278. Of course, you can find us on Facebook, where we are coming at you live. Just head on over to Out Chicago Radio. And while you're there, give us a click and a like and a share and all that good stuff. But if that doesn't float your boat, you can always tune in on WCPT AM 820. And be sure to follow WCPT and our sister network, Heartland Signal, on all of the socials. All of them. How are you doing? You seem to be, you had a morning.
I had a morning. I just kind of got here, but I did not miss the opening of the show.
There we go. Yeah.
My real estate career, I had to revise a contract and get that off before I left this morning.
Ew. Happy Sunday morning.
Well, it's a very competitive market out there. And if a seller says yes to a contract and you represent the buyer, you want to make sure that you get that contract back to that seller before somebody else comes with more money or something. So, but anyway, the more important thing that I am celebrating, very most important thing is my lovely wife, Kathy Voltmer's milestone. That's all I'm allowed to say. Birthday.
Today. Happy milestone.
Today, it's her birthday.
Yeah. We got cheers for her.
Oh, she deserves cheers.
She does.
She's the bestest. Those that were listening last week saw that she sat in my chair when I sat in Scott's. And just besides Kathy being a talented person, she is a lovely, special,
human being. Kind.
I'm very lucky.
Excellent singing voice.
She's got a great singing voice. She's
great to harmonize. Funny.
She's a good punster.
A heck of a dancer.
Heck of a good dancer.
There we are.
All the things, but most importantly, she's a loving, kind, beautiful human being. And honey,
she's your person.
Happy milestone birthday. So the celebration started Friday. We went and saw Andrew Saw. We've had on the show. He was doing his Cosmic Country showcase.
Where was he?
This was at Justin and Moore. It's a distillery, so bourbon distillery, and it's in that Rockwell complex in Avondale, off of Belmont and Rockwell by the river. I had never spent any time there. in that area. I mean, I cut through from Waze, but I never really gone anything there. There's a whole bunch of stuff happening. There's a place called Smoke and Soul Barbecue or something like that. There's the Justin Moore, but Andrew curates a fabulous country show, and it's very queer. It's everything. You know, there's queer, it's country like you've never heard it before.
I love that.
And it was just a wonderful way to kick off her birthday weekend.
The birthday weekend.
And then last night we were out with our dear girlfriends. There were 8 of us all together: Kathy and Mary and Therese and Simone and Joyce and Janet and Kathy and me, and we celebrated a little restaurant called Cado Mio. Never been there before on Lincoln Avenue. It's a very small BYOB.
Yeah, wait, we're at Lincoln and...
It's 4603 Lincoln. It's like right by the Davis. Right across the street. Mm-hmm. Very sweet place, and it just had a lovely, we kicked it off fantastically. And tonight we're going out with a couple of dear friends to... oh gosh.
Well, where'd you go? No.
North Pond.
I don't know that one.
You don't know North Pond?
No, I don't.
Oh my God.
Look, here's the thing. For as much
Chef
of a foodie,
Scott?
For as much of a foodie as I am, I don't really go out to restaurants.
Well, this one's been around about 20.
I'm sure it has,
years.
but I still don't go out to restaurants.
Are you watching Top Chef?
I am.
Cesar is the chef from North Pond.
Oh, I'm okay because there are 3 Chicago folks on there.
There are.
One's already gone. I was surprised by him too. I forget his name.
Yeah, he's Zamir.
Zamir, yeah, because he was really, really good.
Yeah,
but I was just talking with our neighbors for we are planning on visiting the 3 restaurants.
So we don't know if Chef Cesar will be there tonight. I hope so for Kathy's special birthday.
Oh, that'd
dinner.
be wonderful.
So we're going to North Pond. It's a special place. You would love it. It's like you feel like you've been transported because it's in Lincoln Park.
Okay.
It's in the park. It's off Cannon Drive.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's like, and then every time we go, why don't we go here more often? And say, because it costs this much.
Because it's $1 million. Yeah.
We are like you, my friend. We are cooking our own restaurant.
I know, that's what we do.
At home.
But it's on a milestone birthday.
On a milestone birthday.
Might as well.
We were supposed to be on safari, but we had to put those plans off. Kathy wants to go on safari.
I want to go on safari,
too. Will you go with her?
Heck yeah, I will totally go with her.
Jerry and I'll stay home. No,
Will there be glamping?
Yes.
Will there be glamping?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Sign me up. Yes, glamping.
We almost signed up for the Olivia glamping experience, but
I couldn't go then if it was the Olivia thing.
But it is.
Yeah.
It's
milestone birthday. Just remember milestone birthday.
So we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it in the
Eventually. Yeah, it'll happen.
We'll do it.
We'll
we have our
there's
dog.
a little rain check and everything.
Our puppy is our main concern right now. So.
Right. All right.
So that is, and one more thing that I did this week that I want to mention. We went to the Magic Lounge, which we love, for the press night opening of Diary of a Black Illusionist, and he's called The Spellbinder. And I so thoroughly enjoyed that show. Kathy and I had the same thought afterwards. We have our 2 favorite shows we've ever seen are Lucy Darling and this one.
Okay.
And this is an African-American gentleman who grew up on the south or west side of the city, and he runs video about his life. And he had a house and a magic store that burned down in the 80s. Changed the course of his life, but he used to go to a lot of the sets and a lot of the music things, and he'd do magic, and it was not in my, milieu. It wasn't in my neighborhood. I never was down there at those events, but how fun. He's out there doing magic, and there's like the soul R&B music happening, and he's got this great musical soundtrack that he has the DJ play. It was just, I can't say enough about it. And he's a Chicagoan. And he's an illusionist, he'll tell you, not a magician, but not doing card tricks, but he did couple things with cards. But just highly recommend the Magic Show Lounge.
The Chicago Magic Lounge is much fun.
It is a treasure. I mean, it is. We took Kathy's family when they were here for the children's show. I almost wish I could have taken them to this one because I think
it would have been cooler.
It would have been cooler.
Yeah.
But it's always packed, and it's, you know what I love about it? It's multi-ethnic when you go there. There's people from all over the city, which you don't see on the north side as often in different places, but you see it there. You see tourists, you see people from the south and west side, the north side, everywhere, the suburbs. So I can't recommend enough Diary of a Black Illusionist by The Spellbinder.
Do you know how long it's going to be running? Because they do I'm sure it's somewhere, because usually those residencies are like Wednesdays or something like that around there.
We were there on a Wednesday, and I will get that information for you.
That's cool. Yeah. But it's the Chicago Magic Lounge. If you've never been, it's so cool because you have to kind of like figure out where it is a little bit. It's like it is not the typical entrance to what you would think to be a show lounge. And then once you get inside, you're like, what? There are just more surprises and more surprises that happen.
It's
smiling. Fun. It's a totally unique.
Diary of a Black Illusion. It's Walter. I didn't even remember because he calls himself the spell Walter King Jr.
Right.
And it is running until June 25th.
All right.
June 25th. It's got a little bit of an intermission, but highly worth it, and can't recommend it enough.
Go check it out. Yeah.
So I think that was everything. How was I know you were gone last week, but how was your Easter?
Girl, the Easter was spent in a car.
In a car, yeah.
Let me tell you, I'm still trying to recover from the down and backness driving to Memphis.
You did a quick turnaround,
my friend. We left on Friday, and let me tell you, there was about 75 miles worth of construction, and 50 of it was single lanes.
Kind of like me on the way here today.
Kind of like
only
that.
For a few minutes.
There we are. Yeah, it seemed like an eternity to get there. We were thinking about flying, but it was when we were planning the trip, that's when all the planes were falling out of the sky. So we were a little like, maybe we'll just drive.
And normally it's not a bad drive. If you have construction and you're staying a day or two.
It is a boring drive. I am sorry.
57 all the way down. Trust me. I went to school in Carbondale.
There you go.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it is a hike. And so it was basically like a 16-hour trip for there and back for about 36 hours of hanging out.
Did you have a good hang?
Well, yes. Yeah. Well, no, here's the thing. But we went to go see a show.
Oh, yes. That's why you went.
The show was lovely. It was great. Mm-hmm. Truthfully, it's not going to change. It did not change my life.
Okay.
But it was really lovely.
Okay.
But let me tell you, the friendship. The friendships there were worth the 16 hours drive just to kind of go and also to soak up some of that sun. It was really pretty. Say what you want about Memphis, like it is really beautiful in the spring. It is one of the most beautiful places I think I've ever. It's just
everything's
it's gorgeous.
In bloom because it's further south, and it's like Carbondale.
We had already missed the blooming, like the bloom already happened.
Yeah,
so
it's a whole different climate. Even Southern Illinois is a whole different climate.
100%. So so it was like we listened to some podcasts and we had some time in the car and everything. Got to see our friends and go see a really really good show. Silent Sky was the name of it, by Lauren Gunderson, and it was it closed on the Saturday. It was a Saturday matinee. And as we were driving out to the theater, there was one thing I was really, really happy to see. There was a big protest happening. Another like hands-off protest that was going on there. And it was kind of like who you would expect. It was like a bunch of like older hippie people, which were wonderful. And then, but there were some younger folks and some families that were out there. And as we were stopped at this major intersection that's kind of between what they call East Memphis, which is where it gets a little bit more Trumpy, and Midtown, which is a little more not Trumpy. And then this giant truck pulls up next to us, and we're sitting there looking at signs, we're honking in solidarity, we're rolling windows going woo woo woo, and then the dude in the truck rolled down his window and decided to yell, "Why do you hate America, you effing figs?"
Oh boy.
Except he didn't say figs.
Yeah, and I'm sure he didn't.
He didn't. Which I'm like, you know what? Kudos for framing it as a question. You could tell he was it was a Socratic method. He was like, let's have a conversation going. Let's do that whole thing. But one thing that I have noticed, because I've been called an effing fig multiple times, but only in Memphis and only from a car.
Oh my God!
It's so weird. It's the weird sort of the lack of courage. They're just all right. But it's so weird and I was like, wow, we're doing that. We're still doing that.
You had to even experience.
Well, it wasn't even directed to me. It was directed to these old hippies, which I was like, wait, what? But 2025. Here we are. Here we are still throwing that word all around in a pejorative way. Mm-hmm. Actually, the one time that I was called that here was also from a car. I was out judging. I was a guest judge for some karaoke contest, I think, and I was walking back to my car in Lincoln Park.
I think we were.
No,
was it before that? Okay.
It was
for us. Okay.
No, it wasn't before us, but it was. Yeah. It happened while we had the show.
Because I remember hearing about it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but it's it is alive and well. Homophobia is alive and well. Just let you know, and it is being fostered by this administration and all of these crazy people. So, so that was kind of like it was a weird moment, just to be like, we're about to go, celebrate our friend's work, go see the closing night of this play, and then we're like, what? Oh, okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. All right, great. So that kind of dampened the whole thing, but then we move on. We laughed about it because it's like, what? Again, this is the best insult that people can come up with.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. Language is your toy, sir. Language is your toy.
My father, and I've said many times, as my father has taught me from a young age, consider the source.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I know, and I know it has more to do with them than it has to do with me, and but still.
Yeah.
Having that, So it was kind of nice to leave Memphis, but our Easter was spent driving in a car.
Well, did you eat something when you got home?
We tried to find road ham.
Yeah.
We were like, we need to find some ham on the road.
While
we're on the road to go get some ham.
Yeah.
Because we needed some Easter ham. But that didn't work. It was a hamburger is what we had, Yeah. That's the worst thing about doing a road trip so quickly. That means McDonald's, too close to each other.
We always pack food. I know coming home it's harder, but we're done with stopping at those places. We make sandwiches and bring a cooler.
Well, had we been more prepared,
I know,
we would have done that. I did bring a cooler full of charcuterie and pickled carrots.
But you ate it all.
No, and then we didn't even eat it. That was. It was weird. It was an odd, fast trip.
It was an experience.
But thank you to you and the Milestone Birthday Girl for holding down the fort and doing. How was you hosted for Easter too?
We had a very lovely time. It was beautiful.
Wonderful.
Food, people loved the food. We worked hard. We put out a good spread, and everybody ate well. We ate for days.
Come on now. So, yeah, as you should.
Yeah.
You sent me what you were making. I'm like, all right, come on now.
Oh, yeah, it was good.
Come on now.
It was good.
Yeah.
So I felt very lucky.
Well, wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, there we are, and here we are. And we should probably take a break. But before we do that, we got to pay some bills. And this part of Out Chicago is brought to you by Team Hochberg. If you are purchasing a new home or refinancing your existing home, you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Suzanne called David after hearing him explain discount points on the radio because her son was purchasing a home in Colorado. Now, David answered Suzanne's questions and encouraged her son to call him for a free consultation. Suzanne was so impressed with the service David provided. She wrote this 5-star Google review. I sent David an email today with a question about discount points that I heard him speak about on the radio, and he called me back this evening with a complete explanation. I'm so impressed with his responsiveness and knowledge. David strongly encourages everyone to check out Team Hochberg's more than 500 5-star Google reviews from happy listeners like Suzanne. Team Hochberg helped Suzanne and thousands of WCPT listeners, but they can't help if you don't call 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. That's 855-563-2843 and 56david.com. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, there's more Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
And I'm Spring Queen, might not pronounce it, and you're listening to Out in Chicago.
And welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ella Miller, rolling along
having
on
an animated conversation.
Beautiful spring day.
It is beautiful for Kathy's birthday.
It is beautiful for Kathy's milestone birthday. I'm glad you ordered this weather. I wish it had been a couple days earlier because that was my weekend.
Yeah,
it was like I was so look
cold.
I know it was been cold, and Friday was rainy. It was so sad. All I want to do is just like plant things. Oh, I know it's too early.
It's too early.
I know it's too early,
Between
but I already...
Mother's Day and Memorial Day, and not a day before, Scott Duff. That's only a couple weeks.
No, it'll be a day before. It'll be.
Okay.
It'll be beforehand.
I
bought plants in Memphis and brought them back.
Oh, jeez. You got time for that? Well,
I keep moving them outside to get some sun.
Maybe bring them back in.
Bring them back in.
Yeah, when it's 40 degrees. Or...
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But they said that they could go until
they can handle
32. I don't know. All I know is I'm champing at the bit to I want to trick out the patio. I spent yesterday outside, kind of just putzing around, cleaning everything, swept everything off, took the cover off the table, got all the the pots out and all that sort of stuff. And now I just want to do things. Rebirth, renewal.
I'm ready for it.
Yeah, me too. So hey, big news this week. Pope Francis passed away.
He did.
He died after our final Easter service.
I know, and I guess he was riding around in the Pope Mobile and everything that day.
Yeah.
On Easter Sunday.
I was like, all right, well, there we go. He was kind of known as the People's Pope. Seemed to be kind of the most progressive-ish of popes.
As good as it gets, shall we say, so far in this world of popedom.
Yeah, I guess, but he was... he famously was talking about LGBTQ folks and being blessed by priests. He's like, who am I to judge these people if they're coming to God? Then we should. Who am I to judge the intent in their heart?
And we're like, yes. Thank you.
Yes. The Episcopal Church has been doing that for a really long
time. They have. The Greek Church hasn't, but
yeah. Well, but.
Yeah, but he did, and he embraced the LGBTQ community a heck of a lot more than any prior. Yeah, and just seemed, like somebody who really walked the walk. He was he took a vow of poverty. Yeah, he was, I think being from Latin America, we know that certain cultures have for many years been more accepting, of
well, I don't know exactly how accepting he was. I mean, truthfully, and especially in Argentina, not exactly the most, open place.
No, but there's a gay culture there. And
there's a gay culture anywhere. I bet you anything there's a real big gay culture in the Vatican. So, but we're just going to keep that on the down low.
But certain African countries and other places in Africa are, where there are Catholic, priests are not that way. So so I'm sure he had acquaintances and he had, he had friends that were in the community.
Yeah, well, throughout the whole week, a lot of the news has been focused around, the formality behind it, the ceremonial aspects behind everything, and getting ready for the conclave that's going to be happening. They've been talking with different folks, and there was one LGBTQ person who he was like he was fantastic. He was wonderful, and he embraced him. When they met and they developed a friendship and everything. So
it doesn't surprise me because the kind of life that he led was one, as you said, he took the vow of poverty and he was with the people. He didn't isolate himself in some, golden church somewhere. He was out.
Prada slippers.
Yeah. And Prada slippers.
And Prada slippers. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's about Prada slippers.
Is that what they are? I wonder.
They're Prada. There we go. But speaking of high-end things, some good news that happened. George Santos got
I was thrilled. I didn't even know it was happening until I saw.
So petty. It is so petty.
I'm so happy.
But
we need a little joy in our lives.
Or at least it's not necessarily joyful, but it definitely feels like, oh my gosh, somebody's being accountable.
Is happening to this.
Somebody is being held accountable for their abuse of power, for spending money on luxury items.
Because all we do is see people that are not held accountable every single day.
I know. So that was...
seeing him held accountable was...
That was great. He was the former representative from New York who had to go away. Now he's going away for 7 years.
Yeah, and he's been preparing for it, he said.
Yeah, I mean,
as only he could, I'm sure.
So that was kind of a happier kind of thing. But to go back to the figs remark that happened, people are being very emboldened these days to just let their homophobia, their transphobia.
Yeah. I wonder why.
I have no idea why. Well, maybe because of Nancy Mace.
Oh gosh, yeah, I saw the video.
Girl. So Nancy Mace from South Carolina. If you aren't familiar about this, she posted a video of this guy in I believe it was an Ulta Beauty.
It was an Ulta Beauty
store or whatever, who was just asking her when are you going to do a town hall? And she's like, I've done town halls. I just did. But it's well, when are you doing one? And he just kept asking, was doing that, and she was filming
yeah,
it.
It's why would you film this? Because you look like a jerk.
She looked like a really big jerk and saying, posting about how she was being harassed by this flamboyant gay in hot pants who was buying makeup at a store. And she's like, I voted for gay marriage. And he's like, do you think gay marriage is all that I am? Do you think that is it? And no, it was just so weird how she just assumed that he was gay. B, the fact that he was gay would change how she would interact with him, her constituent.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
And then
this is what's wrong with all of them, the Republicans.
Yeah.
They want to label you, and then they want to get rid of you.
Yeah, but it's just why? But why on earth would you post that?
Because she looked, I said, she looked she looked horrible.
I know, but she's the one that posted it.
Yeah, I know.
It's so,
she's the one that videoed it and posted it.
So, but is she owning the gays? Is that what it is?
Is she proud of that little repartee she had? I
think she had an F-bombs going all over the place, and all this person was asking was when are you holding a town hall? Well, I did them. I had 12 last year. Great, that was last year. What are you going to do this year? Because people are mad.
Yeah.
People are mad.
They are. The polls are showing people are mad.
They are. Well, and I bet you our caller, Steve, is probably mad as well. Steve, welcome. You're on Out Chicago.
Yes, it's amusing that you referenced that video. Someone sent me that link as well. I mean, the word came down from on high. Okay, don't do any more town hall meetings.
Right.
Or any sort of community interactions, because the fact is that even though it may not be in someone else's Republican district, all of this goes viral very quickly. And then, of course, it makes the entire Republican Party look bad. So their solution is, okay, just stop interacting with your constituents.
Yeah.
And the only ones you need to interact with are those who are firmly in our camp, and the rest you need to ignore, despite the fact that they're lifelong Republicans.
Yeah.
And so, this is where the Republican Party is among their own people. They are hiding from their own voters, for God's sake.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I have no doubt. I mean, I don't like to put bets down on how well things will turn out in a given campaign cycle, but I have no doubt that in the midterms that the Democrats are going to sweep heavily, and especially in terms of House races. But that doesn't mean that we can undo right away what this administration is doing, because in the end, what the House and the Senate can do to stop the president is limited. There are powers that the president has which we cannot, shall we say, block or hinder unless the Supreme Court gives us that power. And there are numerous cases that are going to the court. And unfortunately, on a lot of them, they're siding with the president. And on those where there's actually some question, and the courts need to decide, the Trump administration's attitude has been, don't care. Sorry, we don't care what you're saying from the bench.
Yeah,
we're just going to do what we're going to do.
It's a little disconcerting.
It's a lot disconcerting.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing you see in a banana republic in the third world. The courts are ignored, and I'm just going to do what I want.
This is where we're
that's unheard of.
It's
absolutely.
Yeah, and
people, and if I might, people, if you want to get a better Democrat into office, now is the time that you need to look. because it's not a year from the coming November. You need to be talking about who you want running and what you're going to do to help them get elected a year from now, because that's when we're going to decide who the candidate is on the Democratic side. Mm-hmm. So, stop thinking, we just had an election. Okay, well, our election cycles come much more quickly.
They are, and there's so much election reform. And here's the thing that I'm a little concerned about is how elections are going to happen going forward, because his big beef is always that the election is stolen, the election is rigged. He even told his voters this last go round that, you know what, you don't even have to vote anymore after this. Yeah, there aren't going to be elections after this, and that is something that is just stuck with me. I'm like, all right, so,
but he is a guy that changes his mind. You get whiplash from his mind, moving.
But I don't think he's going to be like whiplash on this. Like they're always. I'm trying not to be paranoid, Steve, but I am a little paranoid.
Keeping in mind that unlike, say, other traditional political parties, what the Republican Party used to be, a Democratic Party is today, they are not defined by one cult of personality. So who is the MAGA candidate in 2028? Because if Donald Trump can't run again, what happens to MAGA? He is the thing that holds MAGA together.
Right.
So, again, it's not like the Democrats. So either they try to illegally get him a third term, or MAGA falls apart. It's already going to fall apart, given the American people have turned on him in terms of domestic policy, foreign policy. I mean, on every front, he has lost huge ground.
Yeah, he's lost a lot of ground.
Now, he has the lowest approval rating of anybody given their first 100 days, because we measured this. We met, that honeymoon of 100 first days. He has the lowest approval rating of anybody in the last 75 years. Yeah. In terms of their first 100 days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh my God! It hasn't even been 100 days, has it?
It has been 100 days. We just passed that mark this past week. But I mean, it seems like time is either slow or faster than what it should be. I mean, you wake up and you wonder, what nightmare am I going to find on my phone or on TV?
Yep, we sure do. But fortunately, we got folks like you who are out there doing the good work and out there staying informed and letting people know about it. So, Steve, thanks so much for giving us a call today. We really appreciate it.
Hang in there.
Yeah, have a good one. Yeah, it's like everything that he touches is just ridiculous.
I've been tuning him out the last week or so because the whiplash is killing me. I'm tuning him out as much as I possibly can.
Well, the thing, here's the cult of MAGA is going to stay intact. I have a feeling. However small that is, of the population, they're just not going to change their minds. But what he's been doing has just been so like, we're going to do this. I'm just kidding. No, we're going to do this. Oh, I'm just kidding.
I can't even get my mind around it.
Things are chaotic. They don't make sense. They don't make sense for our country. They don't make sense for like a lot of people. It's weird. And the way that he's flagrantly, ignoring like the Supreme Court. And, all these other, that's why I'm a little concerned about when we're talking about like the Dems are going to get in the midterms, but like, will we have midterms? And if so,
we will have midterms. We will have midterms.
All right, cool.
I think there's enough Republicans that want to see midterms too. I mean, what's going on is equal opportunity offending people, as the polls show. There are people that voted for him that are not happy with him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And of course, all of those millions that chose not to vote that really screwed up, and they're not happy with him either. So. Time will tell. I'm just trying to be zen about it right now, Scott.
Time will tell. We should probably take a break, but just to let you know, tomorrow on Choose Views, Richard Choose guests are Dr. Erie S. Crawford, author and business psychologist with over 25 years of experience in social work, and Sarah Jones, managing editor and co-publisher of Politicus USA. Choose Views weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m. Central on WCPT 820 a.m. the Heartland Signal website, TuneIn, YouTube, and Facebook. We are going to take a break. And speaking of somebody who's out there doing good, we're going to be speaking with our good friend Shannon Lynn Parker, who is of the Brave Space Alliance. So stick around. You're listening to Out Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal. Welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, along with Ellen Miller, rolling along here. We are very, very excited for our first guest. Brave Space Alliance, Chicago's Black trans-led LGBTQ plus center, has been working overtime during these first 100 days. And joining us now is the CEO of Brave Space Alliance, Shannon Lynn Parker. Hello, Shannon. Welcome back.
Hi, y'all. Thank you for having me back. It's always fun. It's always amazing to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
We feel the same way about you.
We do, especially, girl, you have been busy. I have been very busy. Very busy. And I personally want to thank you for your presence at all of the numerous protests around the city. You are getting your voice heard. What is the message that you are really wanting to convey to folks right now?
Let me tell you, before I even say that, Scott, I want to affirm something you just said a minute ago, and I share that same anxiety. Is that, and this ties into your question, that I think we woefully underestimate this administration's ability to undermine and dismantle all that we know.
Yeah, they're trying real hard.
We operate off of a set of agreements that is no longer being adhered to with no consequence. So I deeply fear for our elections and for our democracy.
Mm-hmm. No, I fear for it too. I mean, I'm trying to be positive, though, and hope that the very basic part of democracy, our right to vote, will be ensured by Republicans and Democrats, no matter what he says. I mean, am I crazy?
I do too. I do too.
I think there are Republicans out there too. They may have voted for him, but I think that they believe in democracy. When we tell them this is fascism, they don't understand what we're talking about. But I think they claim to care about democracy. So let's hope that the people overcome what's happening. But I hear you. We're all holding our breath.
We are. But to answer your question, when I have been speaking at these rallies lately, yes, I always bring my being rooted in equity for trans and non-binary folks and LGBTQ communities broadly. But I'll tell you what, my theme during my speeches at the rallies has been, we're all on the menu.
Yep, I was going to bring that up.
Okay.
We are right. Yep.
And I told folks during one of the rallies that a friend of mine called me during when Trump first got elected, and he just said, "Oh my God, Shannon, oh my God, how are you doing? Your community's under such attack." And I was taken aback because I'm like, your community? I'm like, wait a minute, like, you are a member of this community. You are a black male. Like, you are under attack just as much as I am under attack in different ways, but nonetheless, you are not exempt from this strategy. So I have said before, trans people were the appetizer, right? But we're all on the menu. We are all getting served a hefty serving of injustice.
Yeah.
And I need for folks to understand, if you approach what is happening as a single lens issue, then you are deeply mistaken. And you're going to get fleeced from everything that you know, just like I do. So it's just mind-blowing to me. So my getting up there is to tell people, wake up. If I can't access gender-affirming care, you can't access reproductive rights. All of those other things. Like, I mean, It's endless.
Well,
it's more,
the one thing that I love this whole metaphor that you've been using about how we are all on the menu. And what I think is so brilliant about it is because, you are approaching this from your perspective. You are the leader of a Black trans-led LGBTQ center. And but what you do is from speaking from your specific point of view, your specific reality, you are opening it up to the reality of everybody. Like, we are all in this. Like, we're all in this together. And while this may be like affecting me this way, it's also affecting you. Like you said, if you can get gender affirming care, then that's also reproductive rights. It's all of it is on there.
Yeah. We were at the Sarah Feigenholtz event together, and I tried to get your attention, Shannon, but I didn't. But one of the things that Sarah was saying, and they're going after the T, and after they're done with the T, they'll go after the G.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, but just not even just the LGBTQ community. Like, maybe we're a little bit more attuned to it, right. And especially maybe the trans community is a little more attuned to it because of all of the challenges and roadblocks and obstacles and vitriol that we have faced over the decades. That we are aware of what is going on. We see this, and we know that we are resilient and we can get through this. But we need to get through this together.
Yes, we do.
Exactly. And here's the thing. The reason why I am so adamant on folks beyond our community seeing themselves in this moment is because it is truly going to take all of us. This is a collaborative effort because, as I said at the top of the segment, democracy is being attacked. Democracy is being dismantled.
Oh, totally.
And if we do not approach this holistically, then we're all screwed, right?
Yeah.
Like, we have become sieged by an oligarchy. What are folks not understanding here? So that's why, for me, yes, I get up there and I bring my identity and I represent individuals who are most vulnerable. But right now, I am reminding folks we are all most vulnerable right now, whether you know it or not. We are all vulnerable.
What are action items we can share that our listeners can hear and feel good about what they can do? What are some of your suggestions?
Show up. Do not stop rallying. Do not believe that rallying is just a bunch of noise and that no one is paying attention. Absolutely. They absolutely are. Also, to be very careful about where you're getting your information from, where you're getting your news from, because truth be told, mainstream media is getting really diluted if they are even showing everything that's going on. But also, too, you have to be really careful because some media outlets are giving disinformation. So figure out what you're talking about before you go spreading things. And two, take a breath.
Yeah.
That's an action item. Take a breath because this administration is very good, and I don't mean it in a positive way, they're very good at this shock and flooding the plane type of tactic. They want you to be so off kilter that you just tune out and give up.
Yep.
Do not tune out. Do not tune out because we can't afford you being disengaged right now. We need you to be engaged. We need you to be high alert, but we also need you to take care of yourselves in this moment because we are all on the battlefield right now.
Yes.
And we need to find moments for joy and celebration, which I think leads us to Brave Space Alliance is hosting its very first gala. I'm so excited. The Partners in Dignity soiree. It's going to be on May 15th. What is in store for this incredible event?
Oh, man. So, again, right, it is the prioritizing of joy. It is on May 15th. It's at Venue West, and we are just going to share community. We are going to eat. We are going to drink. We are going to be merry. We are going to share community. But also you'll hear from me and our board emeritus, Tracy Bain, and we're going to talk about the past, the present, and the future of Brave Space Alliance. We've had quite a journey, and we are evolving. We're growing. We're still serving, but but we're also being evergreen and nimble and responsive to the moment that we're in. So that's what the Partners in Dignity Soiree will do. It will be a celebratory moment where, yes, we will be holding a fundraiser to plug in some of the gaps that, are going away due to some of the funding cuts from government. That's very real. But again, more importantly, it's going to be like Cheers, right? You'll see so many folks, everyone will know your name probably anyway. And I don't want folks to get intimidated by the language soiree or gala. It's Thursday. It is after work. Please do not show up in a tuxedo. It is
Thursday. Just look cute.
Oh, my God. Right. Jeans and a loafer is fine. I am so anxious right now. I'm like, who in the heck is going to come in here with an evening gown? I'm like, please don't.
Someone,
I may.
Scott would like to. How many people are you expecting?
So we're hoping for 250, which is not a steep hike.
No.
And right now we are a little over half. So, we're really hoping to see the numbers boost up, but we're really getting close there.
Good.
And how can folks get tickets to the Partners of Dignity Soiree benefiting Brave Space Alliance on May 15th?
They can go to bravespacealliance.org, and it will take you directly to the landing page. And from there, you can go ahead and purchase tickets. And I would be so thrilled for you to come. Please, if you got your tickets based off of hearing this radio segment, please come up to me and let me know, because that would just make my day.
It would make our day, too.
Thank you, Shannon. You're the best.
Just a reminder, the Partners in Dignity Soiree benefiting Brave Space Alliance is May 15th at Venue West. For tickets, bravespacealliance.org. Shannon Lynn Parker, thank you for taking a breath with us today. Thank you for inspiring us. And thank you for all of the tireless work that you do for Chicago and beyond.
Always. I love you all.
I love you. All right. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy the sunshine. And we are going to take a quick break. And when we come back, it is the second hour about Chicago right here on WCPT.
WCPT AM's Out Chicago. Think of us as Sunday brunch with your gay best friends. Now please welcome your host, Scott Duff.
And welcome back to the second hour of Out Chicago. Scott Duff here along with Ella Miller, just rolling along on a beautiful day. And we got a beautiful second hour. Very full second hour.
Do.
We've got like artsy-fartsy stuff.
Of course we
got architecture stuff. Mm-hmm. We got so much stuff going on right now. And also, just wanted to let you know, next Saturday, May 3rd.
May 3rd, the big anniversary.
It's the big anniversary, 20th anniversary show. Actually, tickets are sold out for our May 3rd anniversary broadcast at Max and Benny's Restaurant in Northbrook. But we hope that you will tune in Saturday between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. to hear Hal Sparks, who's going to be there, Patty Vasquez, Jonas Pizzito, Richard Chu, and I will be there. We're going to broadcast live with special guests. The event is sponsored by Max and Benny's, Fazio Insurance, Smart 265, the Democratic Party of Kane County, and Southland Friends of Labor, Democratic Party of McHenry County, and McHenry County Democratic Women. So very excited. 20 years of WCPT. We're going to be there. Make sure you tune in. It'll be very, very exciting. And while you're tuning in now, the Story Theater is kicking off season 5. I would say season V, because that's how it's on their press release. Season V. With a reimagined production of Jeff Award-winning playwrights Terry Guest at the Wake of a Dead Drag Queen. And joining us now are the stars and playwright of The Wake of a Dead Drag Queen, actor, playwright Terry Guest, and Paul Michael Thompson. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having us. Thank you so much.
Oh, my gosh. Thank you for taking time out. I know you had previews yesterday. You probably are getting ready for another preview right now.
We're in a tech rehearsal right now.
Oh, my gosh. Thank you so much for taking time out. First of all, how did it go yesterday?
It went beautifully.
Fabulous.
You've got to come see the show.
I'm very excited because it's at the Raven Theater. I love that space. Mm-hmm. It's right at the street from my house. Terry, so the show, if I'm right, the show had its first iteration, was it in 2019? How how did the play At the Wake of a Dead Drag Queen come about?
Thank you for asking. So the play is actually about my uncle who died in 2005 when I was 15 years old. And he was the only other queer person that I knew in my life. And so when he died, it left a huge imprint on me. And I had this story in my head for a decade before I actually wrote it down. And when I finally did, I saw that it affected people outside of just myself and my family. And so I became obsessed with getting the story out into the world. And thankfully, the Story Theater swooped in 2019 and did the world premiere production. And the rest is history, baby.
I love that. So now it's saying that this is a reimagined production. Have you gone through and done like rewrites, or is this just you're working with the exceptional director Michael Burke? Have you reimagined this story from 2019?
Yeah, I've gone through. First off, this was my very first play, so I have learned so much since then. So I've gone through. I've made some rewrites. So it's reimagined in that way. It's also reimagined because we are older and wiser, and we have a little bit more resources, and we have a lot more knowledge to throw at the project. And then thirdly, it's reimagined because the show is more relevant now than it's ever been before, unfortunately. And drag is something that becomes more and more dangerous as the days go on. So I'm really excited to see what 2025 has to offer at the Wake of a Dead Drag Queen.
Yeah. So, Paul, how did you come to this project? And can you tell us a little bit about the story? Because it's a two-hander, just the two of you who are amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's been incredible. So Terry and I are not only the co-stars of this play and the originators of this role. We did do these roles back in 2019, so it's been really fun to revisit together now that our friendship has deepened so much. But we also are governing ensemble members, which are basically artistic directors of the Story Theater. So we have spent the last 6 years since we did this play running this theater company, through a whole pandemic when theaters were closed, coming back and reemerging with our 2022 production of Terry's play, Marie Antoinette and the Magical Negroes, that won the Jeff for Best New Play that year and Best Director. We're leaders of this company, and we're coming in for this show to do this reimagining. It's been amazing.
Yeah. So can you tell our listeners a little bit about the story of the At the Wake of a Dead Drag Queen?
Absolutely. So Terry mentioned that this is based on the sort of life and death of his uncle. So in this play, we basically see Courtney Berringers, who is the drag persona of Uncle Anthony, welcome you to her wake. And then she takes us through moments of her life and of the last year of her life before her death. Now, I know that might sound a little dreary, right? You think of a funeral, a wake as sort of a somber event, but really it's incredibly joyful. It's extremely poignant, and it uses the conceit of drag performance to show us everything from Trina to a West African fairy tale play to recount the bigness and small moments of this person's life.
What are the challenges of staging a piece that deals with both joy and death at the same time?
Well, there are the practical challenges of producing storefront theater in America, in a place where art and specifically theater is not federally funded. But also, one of the challenges that I'm dealing with right now is that I personally am feeling a lot of grief and over just the way things are going in our country. And I don't know about y'all, but I unfortunately am addicted to the news. Oops.
But, that is a big oops. I'm with you on that one, though.
Yeah. I know, it's terrible. I'm trying to work it out, but
I'm in recovery for it right now. But anyway.
But you know what? It's actually beautiful to be able to come to the theater every day, get in hair, get in makeup, and to remind myself, you know what? No matter what's going on in the world, queer people have always created our own selves, created our own realities, and found community and worked it out. We've always put on heels and makeup and pranced around.
And last night, I think we really experienced that, having our first audience. It was such a joyful event to get to share this with people. And then Terry and I got to come out to the lobby and talk to people after who had stayed after the show. And so many people, of course, there was sort of tears of grief, but there were also tears of catharsis, tears of joy, and a lot of laughter in this show as well. So it was beautiful to see that impact.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So since you two originated these roles at the Wake of a Dead Drag Queen, which is now being revived and reimagined at the Raven Theater, what has it been like revisiting this work that clearly, I mean, it's you two, it's like nobody knows this play better than the two of you. And then to have that hiatus and to come back to it, what have been some of the challenges, but what have also been some of the, the sweet surprises or the just second skinness of it? Is that a word? Second skinness? It is now. There we are.
We got you. I think that for me, I mean, as Terry mentioned, we're older and wiser, which getting in heels 5 shows a week is harder at this age.
Girl, tell me about it.
Look,
I gave them up years ago.
Your calves look amazing, I bet, though.
Oh, thank you. I will say, I think actually part of that is, Terry is now the age that his uncle was when he died from complications due to AIDS. And so, and Terry is playing basically a fictionalized version of his uncle in this. And so there's a way in which I think as, queer men in our 30s, our understanding of the AIDS crisis has just deepened. I think I'll speak for myself, when I was in my 20s and we were doing this play, it was sort of, as happens with youth, it sort of felt like a story we were telling. It didn't feel real. And as we're seeing across the country, threats to funding for HIV and AIDS prevention research, this story feels really deeply relevant, and there's an empathy that I feel for these characters who are both HIV positive that I, of course, felt at the time, but now being a little older and understanding the crisis that we're in now and the crisis that queer people lived through and some of them didn't live through in a new way, I think it just feels deeper and more personal.
How do you think your uncle would feel if he could see this show today?
Well, first, I think that he would be amazed that there are people all over the country, that there are people in Chicago, Illinois, who know his name. Mm-hmm. I grew up in a small town, Albany, Georgia, and he didn't really leave Georgia at all. He went to Jacksonville, Florida once when he was in his I hear a lot about that. But so I think he would just be blown away by the fact that 20 years after his death, there are people who never knew him who are walking away knowing his name, knowing his story, and caring about him. And as Paul mentioned, I was the age that he was when he died, and so there are so many aspects of the story that I thought I understood at 25, but that I go back and I'm like, oh, that's why he said this, or that's why he did that. And
he's still,
I hope that he's proud.
He's still teaching you.
Yeah, he is. Wow, thank you for saying that. You know, look, we're tired and hungry, okay, so you'll get me to cry at any moment.
It's okay. Hey,
I cry all the time on the show, so don't worry about it.
You're from Albany, Georgia? That's my earliest memory as a kid on the way to Florida. Was there an Air Force base around there?
I think so.
Because we visited our uncle and aunt when I was literally 5 years old, and we took sticks and knocked pecans out of trees. And it's like a memory I have as a 5-year-old from Albany, Georgia. I just had to share my earliest memory.
Oh my gosh.
There you go. Use it in the show. Use it in the show. It's your character secret. It's your character secret. You would knock pecans off of trees.
It was fun as a kid.
But that's, I love how both of you are kind of embracing getting older, being like, and my relationship with this material, with this character, with this human is really deepening. Can I okay, so I am much older than you, and one of my things as a Gen Xer, I've always been kind of just very curious about what younger generations know, and when I say know, I mean really understand about the HIV/AIDS epidemic. Because I was kind of coming up through, I grew up in a world where AIDS was it happened. Do you feel like, I guess, when you were saying how things are different, when you first did the show, what was your understanding of the epidemic, and then how has that changed to today?
I think growing up, being a child in the 90s and the early 2000s, I thought of the AIDS epidemic as a piece of my history as a queer person, and it also, specifically being a gay man, it was like the ocean that I swam in as I was becoming sexually aware. And so there was this fear around sex and this taboo about sex that I never knew a different version of it, you know?
Yeah.
My uncle dying when I was 15, before I actually came out of the closet, really, I think shifted my view of the epidemic and also shifted my view of my own sexuality. And then the first time we did the show, I had an understanding of how for rural communities and for Black communities, the epidemic never really ended. And so many ways, living here in Chicago, so many people have access to healthcare in a different way. So many people have PrEP, and so many people have just knowledge in a way that they don't always have still today in places in the rural South, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my understanding of the epidemic today is not only its history, but as some kind of future that I'm trying to prevent.
Yeah. In terms of the actions that this current administration is taking, is that what?
Yeah. I mean, I have friends, I have Georgia connections, of course. So I have several friends who worked at the CDC, specifically in AIDS research, who have lost their jobs.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
It's just, so I think that I know it's perhaps arrogant to say the show that I wrote is an important show, but the show that I wrote is an important show.
Yes, so, it is. Please say it. Tout it. Yes. Say it. Scream it from the mountaintops. Scream it on AM radio, But,
and here's the thing. Important does not mean perfect.
No.
I'm not saying that it is a perfect show, but I'm saying that we really have something to say, and I hope that people will come and listen.
And I also would like to add, just as his co-star, important does not mean preachy. I think what people will find with this show is that it is, as good of a time as your favorite drag show, but it's as deep and moving of a time as your favorite classic American play.
All right, there's snaps to that right there. And it sounds very immediate and necessary, dare I say. So, look, break legs as you head into opening, and make sure you out there, you get your tickets to Terry Guest at the Wake of a Dead Drag Queen, presented by Story Theater. It's now playing at the Raven Theater. For info and for tickets, go to thestorytheater.org, and that's theater spelled with an R-E because they are fancy that way. Thank you for being important, and thank you for being open to continuing to learn from the ancestors and from our communities and from our communities past. Terry Guest, Paul Michael Thompson, thank you, and break all the legs, break a heel, keep the lashes on.
All the best.
There you go.
Thank you both.
Break a leg, guys.
We'll see you at the show.
We'll see you at the Raven
indeed.
Theater. All right, we've got to take a quick break, and when we come back, there's more Out Chicago right after this.
Hey, this is Kathy Richardson, America's sweetheart from Jefferson Starship, and you're listening to Out Chicago.
She is America's sweetheart, isn't she?
I smile every time.
Lariana, welcome back to Out Chicago, right here on WCPT. Hey, Monday on Live, Local, and Progressive, Joan Esposito will be talking to Annie Carney and Luke Broadwater, authors of Madhouse, it's a long title, How Donald Trump, MAGA, Mean Girls, a former used car salesman, a Florida Nepo baby, and a man with rats in his walls broke Congress. I know this book. So very excited about this. And Emily Chertoff, Associate Law Professor at Georgetown, and Elizabeth Todd Breland, author and Professor of History at UIC. She's written a new biography of labor leader Karen Lewis. Live, Local, Progressive, weekdays from 2 to 5 p.m. Central on WCPT, Chicago's Progressive Talk for 20 years. And right now, I'm very excited. Benjamin Marshall was Chicago's most prolific architect, shaping Chicago as we know it. And the city is getting ready to celebrate May 5th as Benjamin Marshall Day. And joining us now is Executive Director of the Benjamin Marshall Society, Jane LePeau. How are you, Jane? Welcome to the show.
You got the name right, LePeau. Yes,
LePeau.
Yeah, LePeau. It's a French name, but the French pronounce it, P-A-U-W as Poe. Anyway, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So can you tell our listeners a little bit about the history and mission of the Benjamin Marshall Society?
Well, it's quite a history, actually. And please forgive me, I'm a little bit hoarse, but I will go on. Yes, Marshall was, honestly, he was the generator of making Chicago into the destination city it has become, with 3 grand hotels early on. He was born in 1874. He died in 1944 at the Drake Hotel, which he also designed and built. He was the pioneering architect of East Lakeshore Drive, which he started in 1911 when it was a landfill. And he's also known as the father of the Gold Coast because he continued to build along the Gold Coast at the time. Even though there were some things being built on the Gold Coast, he, especially with his hotels, the Drake, and then the Edgewater Beach Hotel, which he built in 1916. Actually, it was started before that. I think it was in I'm getting the dates mixed up. But yes, so he continued to build up along the lake from the south all the way up, in fact, to Lake Forest. But he was a follower of Daniel Burnham's City Beautiful movement, and he was a champion of that in the belief that as Daniel Burnham proposed, was that the city should keep and maintain its lakefront for the public. There should be public parks and beautiful buildings instead of factories and all these things which were happening in Indiana on the lake. And so Benjamin Marshall just kept doing that. It was an amazing thing. So the idea was to build beautiful places where people would aspire to live up to this idea of beauty. You know, it's like when you're in a neighborhood that is trashy, you tend to throw trash around. But when you see these beautiful buildings, you're kind of in awe, and you kind of aspire to have the same thing. And that was the idea of the City Beautiful movement, which actually originated in France in 1853 under Napoleon III, when he raised 70% of Paris to rebuild Paris the way we know it today, which took 30 years, by the way. So Burnham was very influenced by that, as was the world, really, and Marshall as well. And that's why that's why he did that and was so well known at the time, because Marshall was a huge figure. He was a celebrity in the 20s. By the 20s, he was a true celebrity, to the point where the Prince of Wales, future King of England, visited him at his mansion on the lake overlooking, just across from Baha'i Temple, which was like a Shangri-La.
I know exactly now I know exactly which house it is. Oh my gosh. Okay, yes, go. Sorry. It was like a little light bulb went up. I'm like, oh.
Oh, well, you know what? People say that, but it is no longer.
Oh, it's no longer there?
No, but there's a wrought iron gate that is still there, and it's an empty lot because after it was taken down, sadly, by the city of Wilmette, which was so sad because it was such an iconic, extraordinary place. The Baha'i Temple bought it. But interestingly enough, when Marshall built it, which was finished, I think, in 1924, I think it took him 3 years, the Baha'i Temple wasn't even there yet. So now the Baha'i Temple does own that lot, but it's an empty lot. But it was a very, very famous place. It was... I mean, my gosh, even President Hoover at the time went and visited him in 1925.
Didn't Valentino show up there or something?
Yes. Oh, my God, so many movie stars. Fred Astaire, Houdini. There were so many, I can hardly name them. All these famous actors and actresses and producers and... I mean, there were just so many. It's hard to remember all. You name them. They were there. Yeah.
That's amazing.
And there's Chaplin.
Oh, all right. No, I was just about to say there was something so exciting about that particular era of our city, that time period when, we had like the World's Fair was coming in and you have, Burnham saying, keep the public land, the lake front for the public. Something so exciting about just the pride and ingenuity and creativity that was going on within our city. How would you describe his style of architecture?
He was a Beaux-Arts classical architect. I mean, his story is so huge, really, because he never graduated high school. It's hard to believe.
Really?
He went to this elite high school in the south of Chicago called the Harvard School. There he met all the biggest families, the movers and shakers of Chicago, and it's so strange. He left school before graduating. He started out as a men's clothes designer, which he continued for the rest of his life, designing his own clothes. He was quite a dandy and a man about town. He was known for it. And then it's interesting that you mentioned the World's Fair. He was so influenced by the World's Fair that when he saw it, he was 17, and by the age of 19, he was a full-fledged partner in an architectural firm with no background. Although he did work as an intern for 2 years at an architectural firm, but then the firm made him a partner, literally, in 2019. When he was 19. When he was 19. And then, yeah. And then in 1905, he started his own architectural firm with the engineer Charles Fox, who was a graduate of MIT, and they worked together for 25 years. And in many ways, they built Chicago. But also, what's so extraordinary is that in 1903, he was the architect of the ill-famed Iroquois Theater, which was the site of the worst, fire to this day in where the most people perished, like 600, mostly women and children, perished during that fire, and he was the architect of that theater. And what's so extraordinary is that he went on to build Chicago. I mean, it's just incredible. I mean, what a story! What a life story!
Indeed. You mentioned that he was known for the Beaux-Arts style, and I understand that the Blackstone Hotel is a Beaux-Arts. But can you explain to our listeners what the Beaux-Arts style of architecture is for those that don't know? Yes. Well,
the Blackstone Hotel, it's interesting that I'm so sorry, I'm really hoarse. The Blackstone Hotel, which was designed in 1908 but opened in 1910, was indeed in the Beaux-Arts style, which is French, which comes from the school of the Beaux-Arts in France, which we believe, we don't know for sure, he may have studied there for a little while because he did go to France and spent time there. He went to Europe, of course, and did the world tour as people did at that time. I mean, well-heeled people did. Anyway, so that particular building was built in the style of Napoleon III. And it's kind of Rococo, and it's just glorious. It's considered a real masterpiece. And in 1910, he received, actually in 1908, he received the AIA award for that hotel, for that structure, and Daniel Burnham actually wrote him a recommendation letter for that hotel, and that hotel was was the skyscraper really of Chicago for like 10 years or more. It was the tallest building. And what's so fun, because Marshall loved gadgets and stuff like that, he was known for that with his circular moving driveways on East Lakeshore Drive. Well, he put landing hooks for Zephyrs and flying, what do you call them? Balloon,
air balloons.
Okay.
Air balloons.
Air balloons. Yes. On the Blackstone Hotel.
Wow.
On the roof.
Well, because I frequently travel by hot air balloon. No one does that anymore.
He hops from spot to spot on it.
I mean, it was never used, but I think he was the first. There was someone in New York who did it, but I think he was the first in the United States to do that.
Oh my gosh!
Quite a guy,
quite a character. It sounds like as you were saying,
he was very good looking.
Wow.
He was very, very good looking. He was married. He had 3 children, but he didn't go around much with his wife. He was always around, about town. We don't know if he had any mistresses. We haven't found any.
Or misters.
Oh, goodness.
No, we never know.
Yeah, I know. Hey, come on. You're a dandy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
looking
exactly.
great.
And
You mentioned all those
Go
people
ahead.
that came to his mansion, and they were all men. There were no women. They were all.
Oh no! There was Ethel Barrymore.
Oh.
Ethel Barrymore was there.
Okay, good.
Oh, very, very famous actresses were there as well. Many.
He was a bon vivant. He was a bon vivant for sure.
Yes. Exactly. He was a bon vivant. Yeah, that's for sure.
So Chicago is getting ready to celebrate May 5th as Benjamin Marshall Day.
How about that?
It's pretty amazing. What are some upcoming events that are scheduled to celebrate I think there's one today, like in a matter of hours.
Yes, no. Luckily, there isn't. The first event is, we're celebrating Marshall's 150th anniversary. We've been celebrating all year, excuse me, with incredible events all year. One of the events was when the city designated East Lakeshore Drive as Honorary Benjamin Marshall Way, and that was at the end of October, and that we had a huge event at the Drake to celebrate that. They also they made a proclamation that May 5th indeed was to be Benjamin Marshall Day annually in Chicago. So we are celebrating May 4th with a walking tour, but that happens to be sold out. May 5th, we are just celebrating his birthday over the news. May 6th, we have a gallery event at the Merchandise Mart at the Norton Gallery, and that's still open. And we have June 11th, which is our clowning event for the year at the Tribune Tower on the 25th floor. It's called Summer Soiree in White, and that, too, is still open. And everything can be found on our website, BenjaminMarshallSociety.org. And we founded my husband and I, the Benjamin Marshall Society in 2002. So it's been quite a pioneering journey. But finally, he's getting out,
Yeah, I know. Finally, the name is being...
he's getting his due.
Getting his dues for changing, for a strong impact on Chicago, especially like along the Gold Coast and everything. It sounds...
Oh, absolutely. He really was the reason with his grand hotels why people from all over the world came to Chicago. I mean, there were 3 huge hotels, and he had celebrities all the time at his hotels, as he did in his mansion.
Well, not only was he an incredible architect, he was also a really good businessman. It sounds like, too. Like, all right, everybody, really show up here and create the need. If you want to find out more about this incredible architect, go to benjaminmarshallsociety.org, and you can check out all the incredible events that are going to be coming up. Jane LaPoe, thank you so much for joining us. And celebrate the day.
Yes. Congratulations.
Celebrate the day. Stop and get high tea at the Drake. Always one of my favorite things to do.
Absolutely. By the way, just one last thing. The Drake opened in 1920 on New Year's Eve, and that was the beginning of the Roaring Twenties, and he literally epitomized the Roaring Twenties. Thank you for this interview.
Thank you for your passion, and thank you for the history lesson that we all had.
Yes, indeed.
There we are. And feel better. Feel better. You sounded great, Jane. You sounded fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Take care, Jane. Bye-bye.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it is the final thrilling show-stopping moments about Chicago right here on WCPT Heartland Signal.
This is Tanya Richard from Tanya's Take, Race, Culture, and the Culture of Race, and you are listening to Out Chicago, WCPT.
Welcome back to Out Chicago. Scott Duff here, Ellen Miller, and let me tell you, the WCPT family is growing and getting a little bit gayer. The Gailey Show, hosted by John Parker, will be airing here weeknights at 8 p.m. starting tomorrow. And joining us now for a little kiki is host John Parker and executive producer Jim Pounds. John and Jim, hello and welcome to the family.
Thanks for having
Scott and Ellen.
Hi.
So happy for you guys. Welcome to Full Time on WCPT. When did your show start? Tell us all about it. How did you two meet? What's going on? Give us the dish. Spill the tea.
Well, we start tomorrow night at 8 p.m.
Fabulous.
I want to ask a quick question. Do you prefer Scott and Ellen or Ellen and Scott?
Oh, I always say Ellen and Scott. But
always
Scott
Ellen
says
and
Scott and Ellen.
Always Ellen and Scott. No.
You can say Scott.
I'm going to say age before beauty. Wait, what?
Okay, thank you. Age before beauty would be me.
So how did you two,
ahead, John.
How did you two meet and come together just to create the Gailey Show?
Well, it is a partnership in all sense of the word. So Jim and I are actually partners, and we go back 14 years this August. And I originally was working in broadcasting, television broadcasting, and so a couple years ago began a relationship with AM 950 Radio, KTNF in Minneapolis, St. Paul. And the Gailey Show sort of started as a weekly program, not unlike yourselves, but we were culture and entertainment focused. And then last fall, the election catastrophe happened, and we began talking about what might it look like to expand the show into a daily format. So this past January, we got started, and we are the only, as far as we're aware, we're the only daily LGBTQ progressive news and talk show in the country. So very excited to be joining the WCPT 820 family.
And so your show is nationally syndicated then?
No, we're just in Minneapolis and now Chicago.
Oh, that's just the two. Okay.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So fantastic. Okay.
So what can folks, but they're getting ready because it's going to be, starts tomorrow at 8 p.m. Right here on WCPT. What can folks expect?
Well, something that we had just created in terms of a partnership before we got the call, as it were, was with Chicago's very own Windy City Times. Mm-hmm. So we have an official partnership with them. So every other Wednesday at 8:30 in Chicago, we have the managing editor, Jake Wittig, who will be sharing all the expertise and award-winning journalism from the Windy City Times with us. And so that's some great Chicago local content. We actually are trying to create partnerships with LGBTQ newspapers across the country. So also on like the other Wednesdays that Jake isn't on, we have Christopher Kane, who is the White House correspondent for the Washington Blade. So it's really great to hear from, you know, a guy who's in the room, as it were, to the insanity of our current administration. And then we also are creating partnerships with like the Dallas Voice and Arizona's Lookout, TBD, more to come there. Obviously, we cover national headlines and what's going on there, and international stuff as it comes up and relates to the community. Like Poland apparently just repealed their LGBT-free zones. These were like weird conservative MAGA, their version of MAGA, like regions where they're like, there are no gays here.
Yeah, magically.
So they finally repealed the last of those. So we'll be talking about that tomorrow on the show.
Okay.
Amazing. So now that we got the show out of the way, let's get personal. How did you two meet? Now I want to know this.
The internet. How else do people meet?
I was going to guess because that's how everybody.
I met mine. Yeah. We've been together for 21 years, and we met in real life.
The internet that much back then.
Well, stop. What?
Come on, I'm showing his age. So, John, you said you were in broadcast news. What did you do in broadcast TV? Were you on the air?
No, I have a face for radio. So I got started in production, so on the production side of things, and then sort of just worked my way up from there, started shooting sports and then shooting like photography and then shooting news, breaking news, and then I ended as an assignment editor at WXMI in Grand Rapids. Started with WPBN in Traverse City, Michigan, then went to Grand Rapids, Michigan, and then I transitioned into working in higher education. So I was teaching journalism as an adjunct and advising a college newspaper. And that sort of just kind of launched me on a higher education trajectory. But I wanted to work more with the queer community, and so I found myself being very wistful for that and thought, well, why not sort of combine, you know, this equity work I had been doing specifically for the queer community and get back to my broadcasting roots. And so that's how kind of came back to the podcasting and broadcasting world.
Amazing. Well, we are so excited to have you as a part of our WCPT family. You can catch The Gaily Show weeknights at 8 p.m. right here on WCPT. John Parker and Jim Pounds. Break all the legs.
Yeah, break a leg, and congratulations. Welcome to the family.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, we hope to host you both very soon.
Well, we got our numbers, so there we go.
You know where to find us.
All right. Thanks, guys, so much, and have a fabulous first week of shows. We're very, very excited.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All the best. Take
there
care.
we go. So, again, reminder, you can catch The Gaily Show weeknights here at 8 p.m. on WCPT. Very excited about that. And we actually have a caller who, there was a really long book title that's coming up on Joan's show. Where is it? There we are. So the book is written by... it is written by... Annie Carney and Luke Broadwater, authors of Madhouse, How Donald Trump, MAGA, Mean Girls, a former used car salesman, and a Florida Nepo baby, and a man with the rats in his walls broke Congress.
How's that for a title?
Pat?
Okay, then.
I know, right?
Did you get all that?
Most of it, yes.
All right. So if you're going to look for it, look up Annie Carney, Karni, and Luke Broadwater. That book should pop up for you.
Not Luke Bryan, Luke Broadwater. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, I read the book by Karen Lewis. Oh, that was so good.
She was awesome. I haven't read the book, but she was awesome.
Well done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I hate that she's not here to still help us.
I agree. She was a force. We really like Karen. I'm sorry she's not here either. Well, thank you for listening to the show, Pat, and thanks for your question.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I'm going to, I just texted a friend about going to see the show about the magician, too, the black magician.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have a ball. You can call and thank me later, okay?
Okay, then.
All right. Enjoy.
Go put a little magic into your world there, Pat.
Thank you, Pat. Take care.
There you go, Pat. Thank you.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. So the family is growing. Our listeners are growing. It's wonderful. And again, it's called Madhouse. House, how Donald Trump, MAGA, Mean Girls, and a former used car salesman, a Florida Nepo baby, and a man with the rats in his walls broke Congress.
A man with rats in his walls?
In his walls, yeah. I'm trying to remember who it was. And the Florida Nepo baby, they can't tell everybody who all these people are because they want to do press.
Sure.
But we got Matt Gaetz.
Figure that.
Used car salesman.
I hope he just fades away somewhere, but he probably won't be that lucky.
No, we won't be. Yeah. No, but that's a different one. Who was he? Somebody who just got elected to Congress. It's not Muskie Musk. Anyway, tune in to Jones' show tomorrow.
We'll hear all about it.
Find out here a little bit. And also tomorrow on Driving It Home, Patty Vasquez will be joined by Dr. Jason Bussel of the Chicago Community Acupuncture, mind and body expert Jen Zanotti, and, in case you didn't get enough John Parker, you can tune in to him. He's the host of The Gaily Show, which is making its WCPT debut Monday night at 8 o'clock. Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez, weekdays from 5 to 7 on WCPT, the Heartland Signal website, TuneIn, YouTube, and Facebook. You're not going to be here next week.
No, after some reconsideration, I decided I needed some joy in my life, and I'm going to run down to New Orleans and catch 4 days of the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival. Luckily, Maggie, our beloved pup, is doing very well. She got a good report on Wednesday from the oncologist, and I hate to miss a few days with her, but I just came to the conclusion that I need a little break.
Well, that's what Shannon was talking about.
Yeah, I was hearing that. I was hearing that, and it's interesting. I'm getting all these texts from people like, "Are you here? Where are you?" Because I'm always there for all 13 days, and have been for the better part of 20 years, and I've been at Jazz Fest every single year since 1988.
I know, it's bananas.
And so ever since I made the decision to go down for a few days, my mood improved greatly, and just that told me everything I needed to know.
There we go.
Maggie will be there when I get back.
Of course.
I will miss her terribly, but just getting down there and touching on my, it's like a second home to me.
Yeah. I know. It's your place of enchantment.
Yeah. And I get a lot of opportunities to perform generally down there. I missed some of the bands that I normally play with at the fest already played this last weekend, but just being there.
Go and just take a break. I know part of the joy in feeding the artist's soul is getting up and performing, but also just go and soak it up.
That's exactly what I want to do.
That's what you want to do.
Yeah. So doing that, and then continuing the birthday celebration after the open house that we're going to do right after the show.
Oh, wait, when are you leaving? When are you leaving for New Orleans?
I'm leaving Friday morning.
Oh, okay, there we go.
For 4 nights.
Well, that's great. So just go and have fun. Yeah. Just go and enjoy and everything. And also, just a reminder, May 3rd is our big 20th anniversary broadcast. Unfortunately, it is sold out. Sorry about that.
You can listen.
But you can tune in. Mm-hmm. You can listen. It's going to be broadcast at Max and Benny's restaurant in Northbrook. I'm getting all choked up over here about it. But we hope you'll tune in this Saturday between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. to hear Hal Sparks, Patty Vasquez, Jonas Pizzito, Richard Shue, and little old me broadcasting live with special guests. And the event is sponsored by Max and Benny's, Fazio Insurance, Smart 265, Democratic Party of Kane County, and Southland Friends of Labor, Democratic Party in McHenry County, and McHenry County Democratic Women. And be sure to visit our anniversary webpage where you can find details about the special broadcast and photo and sound galleries that document our 20-year history. The address is heartlandsignal.com/anniversary. And I'm just realizing that I never sent in my photos. No. We need to get on that. You don't leave till Friday, so we can do this.
Yes, we can still do it. And also, June 1st, Scott and I are going to be the Grand Marshals of the Buffalo Grove Pride Parade. We're very excited about that.
They're excited about that. Kicking off Pride Month.
Yeah, kicking off Pride Month. We'll be broadcasting from there. We'll be riding in the parade. We got a lot planned that we're working on right now. So I'm really honored and excited to be in my old stomping grounds, being a Grand Marshal of a parade.
I know, of a Pride Parade.
Of a Pride Parade.
Let alone,
a Pride Parade. I wish my parents lived in Buffalo Grove for many years. I wish they were around to see me, but
well, they're still proud.
They are
still very proud.
They're waving from afar.
Yeah, and we were at the very first one.
Yeah,
we're the very first Buffalo Grove Pride Parade.
You were there, and I was here holding down the fort.
Yes,
this time I get to go too. So
there you go. We get to go, and it's crazy. It kind of goes through. Yeah, it's so fun, and it'll be amazing. So thrilled and honored.
Yes, we are.
That brings us to the end of another show. We are thrilled and honored that you took time out today to join us. I want to thank all of our guests, Shannon Lynn Parker, Terry Guest, and Paul Michael Thompson. Make sure you check out Guests at the Wake of a Dead Drag Queen, Jane LePeau, John Parker, and Jim. Oh gosh, where did Jim's name go? Jim Pounds. There we are, Jim Pounds. There we are. And make sure you check out the Gately Show this week, coming up at 8 o'clock. Dylan, you're amazing. Thank you so much for doing the work of so many people. Ellen, yes. I won't see you next week, so have a wonderful time in New Orleans. Go feed the soul. Thank you, my friend. Have some jambalaya for me. And I'm Scott Duff, and until next week, stay proud.